Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for being here. My project title is Managing EL1 used to promote L2 participation in an A1 level ESL classroom. This study is about in a public secondary school. My r- my risk, my task doing this is my students, most of them don't have a background in English because most of them coming from a public elementary school, and sometimes it's hard for them to start secondary without any knowledge about English. In my classroom, I noticed that students frequently use Spanish during English activities. And while this helps them understand, it's also reduce opportunities to practice English. And sometimes I try to do mimics, not to speak Spanish, post flashcard, because sometimes in my classroom I don't have electricity, I don't have sometimes technology or something like that. And I have tried to use cell phone or send something by WhatsApp, but it's hard. My introductional strategies is to address this issue. I implement several strategies like visual aids, like, for example, post flashcard, or most of the time when I have electricity, I bring my laptop, my screen, most of my tools to project something and use listening to practice sentences frame and language themes. I try to use teaching modeling of target language and structural peer interaction. Next slide. I have evidence collect. I post here on the slide my English quiz. Here you can see my students are level A1. To understand what's happening in my classroom, I collect different types of data. Where here on the picture you can see only a quiz, but focus on the data collection, frequency and purpose of L1 use, student participation in English, responses to scalophoning strategies, indication of motivation and confidence, and that's it. My main finding, these results show three main findings. First, too much Spanish reduce opportunities to practice English. Second, scalophoning strategies help reduce L1 use. And third, students become more willing to use English. For example, Spanish use in group work decreased from about 70 to 30%. And here we have impact on students' learning and professional learning. This project had a positive impact on my students. They became more confident, participate more, and start using English more frequently. As a teacher, I learned that L1 should not be eliminated completely, because sometimes I try the question, teacher, how do you say in English? And they say the word in Spanish. But use a strategy. Scaffolding is key to helping students feel support and take risks. And what's next? In the future, I plan continue using and improving these strategies. I also want to apply them to another groups and observe long-term programs. I have been working from first grade, second grade, and third grade. And the most difficult for me is and was first grade. Overall, this experience showed me that balanced approach to L1 can promote meaningful communicate in English. And my conclusion is a balanced approach to L1 use can foster confident participation and meaningful L2 communication. And thank you and good luck for everyone.
Okay, thank you very much. Excellent job. Anybody would like to be first with a question or comment before I have questions before I ask.
I have a question.
Go ahead, you go ahead.
Do you think uh, that the use of the first language could become like something negative at any time? Like that, I mean, if it has to be like just for a while, for a short period of time, or that it should be something that should be used continuously in a long period of time.
I think that I try to eliminate the Spanish in my classroom, but I think it's difficult. Number one, because they don't have background in English. And maybe next year I can try the first month, use a bit Spanish, something like that, not translate everything, but maybe introduce them and use the question, how do you say in English this, and use the words in Spanish. But you can give me an advice or something like that to improve my students.
I don't know if I give you an advice because I don't know. I think that it depends on the context, like we mentioned, like you mentioned before, and Valeria and I did too. And also, I think it depends on the topic, and it's going to, because sometimes we can think that there is going to be a topic that will be easy for them to understand, and the way that we are explaining it, it's going to be enough, but sometimes it isn't. So I believe that we have to like use images, mimics, everything we can, and like the last option is the Spanish, because it's like where well, at least in the schools that I've been working since I started as a teacher, is like, no, it's not good to use the Spanish. They tell you it's not good, and that it's kind of a prohibition, like don't do it. But I think that sometimes it is necessary, but you have to be like very careful,
Asian.
patient. You have to be very analytic, like when in the situation that you are at the moment, because like I said, sometimes we can think that no, it's going to be okay with these images, with these things that I'm going to do, and it doesn't. So I think it's a hard question, and I wanted to know if you had something different. um
That's
but
an
yes.
excellent idea. You can actually I kind of agree with your idea of in Spanish sometimes is a necessary tool that we can use, and if it is there, why not to use? Okay, Well, I started teaching here using English only. I didn't have Spanish at all when I arrived. So, but I was lucky to have advanced level students, right? So it's a different story. But when
Mm-hmm.
I cannot imagine myself working with children, and coming only with my English. So then I would need to use probably those um, strategies, as you mentioned, visualization or mimics, but still, I think it would not be enough. So I don't agree with the schools that say, yeah, like zero English. What do you mean by zero English? So here, my question actually is somehow related to Yuki's question. So when you were like kind of providing your data, and you mentioned that I'm not sure if I understood it correctly, but you were
Mm-hmm.
talking about evaluation. How did you evaluate English? Was it the U 70% and 30%? How do you understand these 70%? Were you talking about 70% of students and 30% of students don't speak? Or it was just language? If it's language, how do you evaluate language?
For example, I don't know, 40 students, and most of them are doing well my quiz, or most of them are trying to speak English. That was my numbers about.
So was it about more grades? Did they understand
Yes. Mm.
English? So most of those who have tens would be 70%, and those who don't understand, you would evaluate that like that. Because
Y- No, I'm listening. I'm
Sure.
listening, miss.
Well, because why I'm asking this question,
Mm-hmm.
because whenever we do like really formal research, you are now in a bachelor degree. But if you go further, let's say taking master degree, you need to be very careful with the numbers. So when you
Okay.
provide these number like 70%, how do you know? For example, if
And
I
based on
were
what? Mm-hmm.
evaluating, I would be giving or timing, or maybe a specific part, let's say instruction would be given in Spanish. So this is a part of the class where we would maybe take how much time you take giving your instruction during the class. So maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right? And then subtracting, well, obviously do some kind of math, right? But here we
Okay.
need to be very careful with numbers. It's the same thing about English when people say, "Oh, my English is 80%." How, like 80% of reading, speaking, writing, what are you talking about? So basically, these evaluation of language, as you English teachers, doesn't work anymore. There is a special framework you need to, and this is how we understand what kind of English you have, right? So that's why. And so that's kind of related to Yuki's question, because she was asking like, in what parts can I speak? Should I 100% speak English, or just having this 30%? What would be my 30%? And then you would categorize it and evaluate if it's with the numbers. Then you need to think if it's time, or how you grade or you give a percentage to each activity, right? So then you will have this mathematics well, let's say, argued. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, miss. I'm taking notes. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so anybody else would like to ask a question? You have raised hands, so is it about for question, Manuel? Yeah.
Yes, I have a question, and I actually want to say, Stefania, kudos to you. Honestly, I cannot imagine working with no power. Um, I don't know how you do it, honestly. But my question is, since sometimes your the activities you have in class for your students are very limited, since you don't have, I don't know, internet or even electricity, like you mentioned. What are the activities that work best for your students, and that you notice that your students were more participant or were actively participating on X activities?
They love copies, but I have to buy the copies.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
like
because it's
worksheets.
a Yes, like worksheets, and they love it because it's a different thing from the notebook.
Um,
Yes, and post some and see sometimes flashcards, and I want when I bring my laptop, and it's another thing that they used to love.
thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm pretty sure you are already teachers that deserve to be admired. You're doing a great job, guys. Okay, we have another question, Valeria, or comment?
Yes, I have a question to Stefania. Since you're working with teenagers, do you have any problems regarding to respect shown by the students because they're in that stage where they get a little disrespectful to their teachers? And I was wondering if you're having any problems during your research project about that.
You know, I had that problem at private school, but I'm so happy working at public school because I don't know, maybe my students, but I have a happy story in that. But my students used to say that I'm a hard teacher. I don't know, maybe that.
Really? I would not say that, but well, students know better.
Yes.
Something that many students also used to say that to me.
Yes, last week a mom told me that, teacher, the boy told me that es que la teacher is a hard teacher.
Okay. Well, so what do you think, guys? Did you enjoy your presentation? Do you think was meaningful, significant? Do you feel like you have finally your baby? And what to do with this baby? What is next?
I like the activity, Miss, because we can see and support each other. What are we working on? And we can help each other for what is next.
Okay. I'm glad you like this. I worried about, your coming because I know you're working and you have your pendings, But I also agree. This kind of time sharing and me, in my part as a teacher, reading is one thing. I would analyze methodological process. I might give you not like, penalization, but maybe some suggestions how you could improve your future projects like maybe master degree research, right? So, but seeing and connecting, actually seeing your feelings about it, how you feel about that, it's a totally different picture.
I want to be very honest. I was feeling very insecure about this, my presentation, because I was feeling like I think I don't know enough, or maybe because we are always running, we are always like with pendings from our work. In my personal case, that I'm a mom, I'm a wife, that I have so many things to do and always so many things in my head that sometimes I don't pay enough attention to, well, the homeworks and what we have to do. Obviously, we are doing them and we know what they are about, but I think that uh, I don't have like the time and the head like to be totally focused on that. And preparing for the presentation gave me that opportunity, like to reconnect what I did like a long time. I started a long time ago, because that is another thing that happens, that you do one thing one month and the next month it's like, but what did I did last month? At least that's what happens to me. And I really enjoyed listening to Valeria and Estefania, because our topics are related, but also are real situations in our classrooms, and are things that maybe sometimes we know, but we are not aware of. Like, it's not something that you have in mind, and when you listen to it, or when you connect it with what you have in mind, it gives it, it can give you like that clearness, like you can open your mind a lot, you can open your eyes a lot, and also we are learning a lot from each other. I really enjoyed listening to them and to know that we have like similar ideas and that we are living similar situations. And like Manuel mentioned, like Estefania, I don't know how you do like to work with no electricity. She told us that a long time ago, but it's like something that you forget because it's not your situation. So when you recall that, it's like, oh my God, sometimes I'm dying because I forgot the iPad in my house and I'm not going to be able to display the page. And it's only an iPad. Or imagine having
Exactly.
no electricity and like knowing all the different contexts also enrich. And
Ex-
it's something nutritious for us as teachers.